Hey, what's up? Looks like you're trying to install Fedora Linux. Excellent choice. Let's get started. First, we're going to head to the getfedora.org website here. I'll be installing this on my laptop for daily use, so I'm going to choose Fedora Workstation. Download now. Red Hat has been very generous and has created this Fedora Media Writer for us. So if you have your USB drive already plugged into your computer, it will auto-detect that for us, and it will help us create a bootable flash drive that we can boot from and install Linux from. So I'm going to go ahead and download the executable file here. Save that. You can see I've already downloaded it earlier. I'm just going to rewrite it. Once that's downloaded, we're going to run that. Thank you, Red Hat. Here we have the GNU General Public License. Should read that real quick. Awesome. I agree. You can install this wherever you want. I actually boot from a different drive than the one that I normally install programs on, so I'm just going to move that to my D drive, my hard drive instead. But it's fairly small, so you should be able to really install it anywhere without any problem. Go ahead and install that here. Should be pretty quick. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and run it. Here we are. Okay. So I mentioned before that it will auto-detect the USB drive. You can see that here. It knows that I've inserted my USB drive here. You can also see that it's only 4 gigabytes. I think you only need 1.8 gigabytes of available space on your flash drive, but you probably have more than that. But just keep in mind that when you use the Fedora Media Writer, it will rewrite or it will erase all the existing data on your flash drive. So make sure that you're using a flash drive that you don't have any important files on. And also, this is telling me that this USB drive already contains a live system because I've done this before. When you start, you'll want to go ahead and click Restore. If it says that. If not, you can go ahead and just start with Fedora Workstation 33. One thing that you'll want to check before creating your live USB is the Other Variants tab. So this is the target architecture of the laptop that you're trying to install Linux on. So I have an Intel 64-bit CPU on that laptop, so I'm just going to stay on the default here. If you have another kind of CPU architecture, you'll want to make sure that you choose the corresponding option in the Other Variants tab. All right, so now that that's all good, we can go ahead and create our live USB. So as I mentioned before, I've already done this once, so my USB drive is already ready to go. But all you'll need to do here is make sure that the correct USB drive is selected, and then click Write to Disk. There we go. Looks like the Fedora Workstation is all set on our USB drive, so we'll be ready to boot from that in a bit.
All right, here we are. Now we have our bootable USB drive and our laptop that we're going to try to install Linux on. Quick disclaimer, I'm not affiliated with SAS. In fact, if you're a SAS user, I recommend learning Python as soon as possible. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this in here. Now we're going to open up. So the objective here is to enter the system BIOS. Depending on your laptop, the steps that you'll need to take to accomplish that will likely be different. If you have a ThinkPad or a Lenovo laptop, you can likely press enter during startup to enter the BIOS, or maybe function 1. I know that's sometimes used as well. That's just a quick Google search to figure that out. Once you've done that, we can go ahead and turn on our laptop. Give the glare here. So there we go. Press enter to interrupt startup, and we're going to press enter again to pause it. Now this laptop actually has a fairly nice GUI that comes as a kind of front end to the BIOS. Not all laptops will look like this, so I'll try to speak generally as I talk about the steps that we'll need to take to make sure that we're booting from the correct media. So I'm going to go ahead and press the function 1 key to enter the BIOS setup utility. And I'm going to go to focus there, entering BIOS setup. This might take a couple seconds. Okay, so now there's lots of cool settings to configure in here. I won't really cover all of them. We're just gonna look for the startup settings because we need, or really what we're trying to do here is to boot from our USB drive instead of the current hard drive, which contains the operating system that already exists on your laptop. So what we're going to do here is go to boot, and this is what we're looking for. The boot order. This could be in different places depending on your laptop, as I mentioned. But this will likely always be called the boot order. Now you can actually see I actually have already installed Fedora on this laptop, so it's currently at the top of the boot priority order. If you have Windows installed, it will likely say Windows Boot Manager up at the top. And what you want to do is drag that up, drag that as low as you can. We are not trying to boot from Windows, so that can go at the bottom. What we are trying to boot from is our flash drive, so you can move that up top, or really anywhere, because it won't be able to boot from anything else. But I would recommend putting it up at top just to make sure that that's the first thing that it hits in the boot order. So now we can go out of that. The other setting that we'll likely need to check, especially if you have Windows on your laptop, is something called Secure Boot. This can be in different places, again, depending on your laptop. The easiest way that I found to turn it off on this laptop is within Restart and then OS Optimize Defaults. I went ahead and turned this off. It will say some scary stuff like affected settings are UEFI, legacy boot, secure rollback, prevention, and virtualization features. Secure boot is primarily to prevent you from getting hit or from rootkits, which are not an issue in our case because we know exactly what we're trying to boot from, so we can just go ahead and turn this off without any problems. And after that's done, we can save our changes and exit. There could be a few ways to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and click Save and Exit here at the bottom. Confirm this setup. And there we go. It will likely try to boot from our USB drive next. And there we go. Now you should see something like this. Test this media and start Fedora Workstation Live 33. If you're still undecided, I would go ahead and choose this. That way you can kind of test out Fedora and see what it looks like before committing to installing it. However, I've been using Fedora for the past year and I really like it a lot, so I'm just going to go ahead and start Fedora Workstation Live 33. This may take a bit of time. There we go. This is all normal. All of these green OKs are a good thing. Here we have, we're booting from the ISO that we used to create the bootable media with. So that was the Fedora 33 ISO. You can see it's doing a bunch of interesting stuff here. And all right, welcome to Fedora. So we're going to go ahead and install to hard drive. This is great. I'm a fan of the GNOME interfaces. All right. Welcome to Fedora 33. What language would you like to use during the installation process? There's a bunch of languages here. My first language is English, so I'm going to choose that. I live in the US, so I'm going to choose that dialect. Then we'll click continue at the bottom right. Now we have our installation summary. So there's a couple things we can do here. It's correctly identified my keyboard as a US English keyboard. Time and date are set to America's New York time zone. That's correct for me. Now the next thing we want to do here is work with our automatic partitioning. We will need to rewrite everything on the existing hard drive and replace it with replace all the Windows partitions that Windows has created with the default storage configuration that Fedora gives us here. So we're going to go ahead and make sure this is selected and then select done, at which point it will bring up this warning here. So it's saying that Fedora only requires this much space, but there's only this much free space available for use. We want to reclaim space and remove all of the Windows partitions here. So you can see these are, I already have Fedora installed already, so these are the partitions that Fedora has, but if you have Windows installed, you'll see the corresponding partitions for Windows. We could delete them individually, or we could just go here and delete all, so that's what I'm going to do. And you can see this should match the amount of space that you want to reclaim should be very similar to the advertised total space on your hard drive. So this has a 250 gigabyte SSD, and that looks about right. We're going to reclaim that space. And there we go. Once you have the warning gone, you're all set. We can go ahead and begin installation. Here we go. It's starting to create our partitions and installing the Fedora operating system. So this may take a bit of time. So just kick back and let Fedora do its thing. All right, looks like our installation has completed. Fedora is now successfully installed and ready for you to use. Go ahead and reboot your system to start using it. So we're going to go ahead and click Finish Installation. And now we want to reboot our system. We're going to go up to the top right here and click in here, and then power off, log out, and we're going to click restart and restart again. So there we go. We can see it's turning off. Once this has finished, we're going to quickly pull out the USB drive, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. Oh no. Okay, there we go. Now you likely won't need to change the boot up configuration again. If this does not work at first, you may need to make sure that it's booting from your hard drive. But there we go. We can see the Fedora logo at the bottom, so our installation appears to be successful. And here we are. We have now booted successfully into Fedora Linux. Welcome to Fedora 33 without our installation or our bootable media plugged in. So we know that this is definitely our operating system running on our hard drive. So let's just go through the setup really quick, why don't we? So start setup. I'm going to go ahead and choose my Wi-Fi network. See if I get this right. Awesome. Go ahead and click next. Privacy, location services, you can keep these on or off. I'm going to go ahead and turn location services off, but keep automatic problem reporting on so I can help Red Hat out, improve Fedora. Click next again. You can connect your online accounts if you want. I'm just going to skip that for now. And about you, I'm just going to enter my name here, which is Adam. Click next again. Gonna go ahead and enter my password real quick. Let me turn this off so I can use both hands. Okay, now once your password is matched, you can go ahead and click next. And you're all done. Fedora is ready to be used. We hope that you love it, and I am sure that you will. So thanks for watching this video, and let's start using Fedora.